Welcome to Could It Exist in Real Life, where even a show in the 90s can have truth to it. Okay, since I'm done with the Zelda series, I might as well do another series I liked. There's going to be some changes, however. For starters, unlike Zelda, I am not going to do an entire series dedicated to Power Rangers. If you want to know about every single series, visit Linkara atop the Fourth Wall site. His history of the Power Rangers series should help with the know-how on the series. For those who would like a quick summary anyway, here it is. The series revolves around Earth constantly being attacked by evil forces. The Mentor of the Year recruits 5 to 6 people to become superheroes known as the Power Rangers to combat it. Usually it would be teenagers with attitude, or aliens, or graduates with attitude, or space travelers, or rescue services, or time-traveling cops, or eco-terrorists, or ninjas, or teenagers again, or a police force, or wizards, or an agency, or a kung fu squad, or freedom fighters, or samurai, or all of the above since Megaforce is on TV. The formula goes like so. Foot soldiers attack, they morph, they fight the main monster, it grows, they summon a Zord, giant vehicles to combat giant monsters. They then lament on a problem or situation they had prior to the danger. It was a great series through and through, and it has different versions, so if one generation didn't like the old ones, they would at least like the new ones. What most people don't know was that Power Rangers originated from Super Sentai, a popular Japanese series in which Power Rangers used the stock footage from. Now for the fun part. Could it exist in real life? Now, because I don't know much about Super Sentai, I'm going to stick to Power Rangers. But what I do know, I will say for all Sentai fans out there. Could Super Sentai exist for real? Yes, and I'll tell you why. For one, Sentai means task force, which arguably could be roughly translated into soldier. While the Super and Super Sentai on the show refers to the mechas, Zords on our show, it gives a double meaning here. You guessed it right, Super Sentais are super soldiers, which has been a dream of every nation in the world to come up with. The perfect soldier, so it won't take thousands of us from either side to die in the battle of good and evil. Sadly though, the super soldier only exists in theory. Now onto the concepts. First is morphing. Morphing involves a device that allows a suit of armor to form onto your body, enhancing your natural abilities as well as providing extra protection. While there's nothing more than flashy lights and camera tricks on the show, there is however a theory on how morphing works that I can use both examples in the show and real life examples. First, let's start with the suit. Flashy colors aside, it's really just an armored exoskeleton. Something every scientist around the world is working on trying to make possible. From making the armor itself to making the exoskeleton that enhances the abilities of the wearer. The second part of the morphing is teleportation, the ability to transmit an object or a person from one point to another. Teleportation has existed on the show frequently. In real life, however, teleportation is not impossible, but very complicated. Scientists have been working around the clock in order to do so, and they figured out two possibilities. One, solid objects are possible, but living beings aren't. The reason being is that a solid object is dead matter, meaning that the molecules used in said object stay still. They do not move on their own, nor do they reproduce. So teleporting them would be no different than moving them with your hand. However, living beings, such as animals and humans, have cells that constantly reproduce. If one cell is out of place, the result would be horrifying. I once heard an urban legend that 3 astronauts volunteered to do a teleportation experiment. However, what came through did not live long enough, unfortunately. However, in the case of Power Rangers, these factors are eliminated because the aliens and humans on the show became so advanced with technology that they solved many flaws in it. As for morphing, they managed to just teleport the suit and fit it around the person wearing it. Where's my proof in this? Well, if you look at the pilot of Zeo Rangers, you'll notice that the old Mighty Morphin suits were on display even though the Rangers lost their powers for them. The reason being is that the command center or power chamber now, the suits are put in the storage room somewhere in the center, and when called upon, they get teleported from that room to the Ranger calling it. When the Ranger is done, the suit gets teleported back for maintenance and repair. This is also the reason why in most Ranger episodes the visors get shattered one day and then become intact the next. Long story short, master making the suit, master teleportation, you got morphing down. The next concept is the weaponry. While it's obvious they are enhanced and exaggerated versions of Malayan firearms, there are also things that seem impossible to use, such as lasers and energy projectiles. For example, Mighty Morphin first introduced the Blade Blasters, a pistol that can be folded up into a small knife. The concept itself is based around the bayonet rifles. Once in battle, if a soldier ran out of ammo, they would either use the butt of their gun or the knife on their barrel to keep the fight going. In this case, it's a laser gun that can be folded into a dagger. The power axe used by the Black Ranger shares a concept similar to the bayonet rifle, only instead the blade is on the butt of the gun instead of being on the barrel. The laser itself is possible since there have been lasers used as cutting tools and surgical equipment, so using it as a weapon is not so unrealistic as portrayed in shows like this. The con is, however, using a real laser as a weapon is as dangerous to both the person it is used on and the person using it. I don't advise anyone to try to make their own blade blaster. The individual weaponry is just electrically charged versions of melee weaponry, so there's not much to explain there. The last concept is one people are waiting for: the Zords. I can surely say that they can exist. In fact, one actually does. Before I mention it, though, what exactly do we see in a Zord? We see a giant vehicle with weaponry, sort of like an exaggerated version of a tank or a fighter plane. However, the Zord I'm about to tell you about will blow your mind, so brace yourself. In 302 BC, Poliadus of Thessaly created a war machine 130 feet high and 65 feet wide. The machine was armed with catapults and dart throwers and was protected on all three sides with iron plating. He called it Helepolis, which means taker of cities, which is ironic since many of the Megazords fighting often demolish buildings and other structures. This could arguably be the very first Zord in the world. As usual, debate, argue, and let me know what I missed. Stay tuned for more.